Hello and welcome to Start Select, the video game show from GameSpot UK. Coming up on this week's show,
we talk to Evolution Studios about Motorstorm 3, this time it's urban.
We look forward to E3 2010 and see what we can expect to see in next week's big show from LA.
We look at this week's game releases and count down the top 5 games that we can't believe aren't on Xbox Live yet.
And we give away Assassin's Creed 2, the complete edition, on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. All this and more on this week's Start Select.
So, unless you've been living under an especially large rock for the last month, you'll undoubtedly know that next week is the biggest event on the gaming calendar. It is E3 2010.
Now, Jane and I have our passports ready to jet off to LA tomorrow, but before that, we thought we'd run down just what we're looking forward to, as well as your most anticipated games from the show. So, Jane, how many E3s have you been to?
Just the one.
Just the one. It's the 5th for me. So I should theoretically be good at making predictions, but I have a notoriously bad record of it. So the big news we think is going to happen at this point is Natal, Move, maybe a bit of Wii HD. We definitely know that Nintendo DS 3D or 3DS is going to be there. What do you think? What's your most anticipated? What are you most excited about seeing, Jen?
Well, I really want to get another go with Natal. I tried it literally at last year's E3 and haven't touched it since then, so I want to see how that's come along. Similarly, Move, get a good hands-on with that, hopefully. And in terms of the games, well, it's The Last Guardian, Portal 2, I think that's a bit of a favourite, and Fable 3. I'm really psyched about Fable 3. But I think, and someone mentions it, that the stuff we should be really excited about is the stuff that hasn't been announced, that's really going to kind of blow us away while we're there, and not something that we've been kind of spreading rumours about for weeks on end. Yeah,
so I mean, this week a lot of stuff kind of leaks out, so we're recording slightly earlier in the week, so apologies if some of this has been superseded by some of the news that's come out. A lot of rumours come out ahead of the show. But yeah, a lot of the biggest surprises about E3, and one of the best things are the things that you don't know about. When you get to the show, news comes out, things that you don't expect happen. Do you have any particular tips? Anything that you would put a wager on at this point that we're going to see next week?
It's not going to be Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
That's been pretty much shot down.
Yeah, pretty much shot down. Yeah. Although, because Valve, they cancelled their Portal 2 event, and everyone's like, okay. And then they said there's going to be a surprise instead, and everyone's like, okay, Half-Life, Episode 3, and that seems to not be the case. Someone's saying, well, in that case, isn't it just like Half-Life 3 or something? Probably not. I'd put money on that not being the case then. So that's my wager. It's like an anti-wager, I suppose. And also no PSP 2, I reckon.
No PSP 2.
I think that's actually a fairly safe bet. I'm kind of like hedging all my bets. But I think if that comes out, it's going to be late. It's going to be like the PSP Go. It's going to be Gamescom or TGS or something like that, I think.
One of the most persistent rumours right now is Xbox 360 Slim as well. That could possibly happen. You've got Natal coming out, possible revision of the hardware.
Yeah.
It seems like a good time.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
You think it's going to be a Slim?
There's a good chance of a Slim. I'm slightly more optimistic about PSP 2. I think that could possibly happen. I know they only released the Go, like, what was it? It's not even 12 months ago, I don't think.
Exactly.
But it's been such a kind of misfire for them that now people are ready for another PSP. There's a new DS coming. Do you not think?
I thought something would have leaked. If it's going to be, but in the absence of leaks, I think it's not going to happen. But they might have tightened up security, and we'll totally be surprised at the Sony conference. And
the one thing that I don't think is going to happen is Wii HD. A couple of people have a few analysts have said Wii HD is coming for a long time. It's coming. It would theoretically take on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 with a similar level of hardware and allow people to port games to it. The next Call of Duty, for example, more easily. But the Wii's still doing so well. I can't see it.
I don't see that it's necessary.
They didn't chase the HD market to begin with, so why do they need to?
Right. Exactly.
Anyway, we threw it open to the Facebook group, facebook.com/GameSpotUK. If you want to get involved with the conversation on Start Select, hit up facebook.com/GameSpotUK. We asked you what you were looking forward to at E3 this year.
Roger Skelton says news of the PS3 subscription service and what it will contain. If Sony play it right, they should be able to get me very excited about it. So yeah, that will be interesting to hear about exactly what you're going to get in the premium subscription.
Yeah, he seemed quite excited to actually pay money to Sony for this service. I wasn't like, what?
He's ready. He's in line already.
He's ready. He's got his subscription money ready. And Matt Girdler says, I honestly think Sony will show a PlayStation Portable 2. PSP Go might have been used as an in-between between two generations, like the Game Boy Advance Advance and Advance SP, and Nintendo DS and DSi XL. Other suggestions that we've had for games that people are looking forward to, it seems to be completely across the board. There's not like one title that's come out as a favourite. So Sean Alistair Stanek says info on the new Zelda game, as we talked about.
Yeah, Ben Wood said news on Half-Life 2 Episode 3, of course, and Ben Danalik says Elder Scrolls 5, I really am hoping. And David Bartlam says Fallout New Vegas, so I think that's a sound bet. We'll definitely be seeing more of that.
Lee Lapcoat says DC Universe Online, which was, I think, last E3 we saw that unveiled.
Yeah, there's a date now, right?
Yeah, there's a date now as well. Another vote from Dave Haslett for the Wii HD, but he acknowledges it will be highly unlikely.
James Day, formerly of GameSpot intern fame, says to see what the new Zelda is going to be like, if Nintendo can make any use of the Vitality Sensor, and if Miyamoto is going to unveil Pikmin 3.
Bryony Hammond says Killzone release day, so I can make a childlike chart and count off the days remaining with a big red crayon. You and me both on that.
And Matthew Spratt is looking forward to Elder Scrolls 5 as well, and Nick Richards is up for Thief 4, Hitman 5, and The Last Guardian.
Yeah, I think Hitman's probably a good guess, actually. Yeah, they've got those guys. I've got Kane Lynch 2 coming out soon, and then Hitman. I think we could see an announcement for that. Anyway, E3 is kicking off this Sunday, June the 13th. So remember to check out our live streams of all the major press conferences, hands-on impressions of the biggest games, and interviews with all the top developers by bookmarking e3.gamespot.com.
Also, Guy and I will be doing the Start Select show and GameSpot UK podcast specials next week from the show itself. So check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/GameSpotUK to tell us about what you enjoyed. And again, we'll share the best comments next week.
All right, time to go and see Motorstorm Apocalypse now. It's the third Motorstorm game for the PlayStation 3. It was unveiled in London recently, and in a big change for the series, it's heading to an urban environment. We caught up with lead designer Paul Rosinski to find out more.
One of the key things that we wanted to do this time around was look at how we can almost reinvent the brand, explore a new way to bring off-road racing to a new environment. And the city gives us a new hook. We've been to Monument Valley, we've been to the island, we've been to Alaska, we've been everywhere around the world, but we've never been to a city. And this urban off-road environment gives us the opportunity to really put a different spin on the Motorstorm player set that we've had. But we thought, well, the city's not really enough. So the earthquake was the next layer that we introduced. But even then, you can't have an earthquake happen in every single race. So what we did, we introduced the two factions. We have the private military and we have the crazies. And these two sets of factions, they're butting heads against one another. And you just happen to be in the middle. Neither of them really like you, but they're against one another more than anything else. And these tools, the earthquake, the factions, really allow us to create a whole new racing experience that's never been seen before. Well, Motorstorm Apocalypse isn't set in any particular city. At the moment, it's just a fictional West Coast metropolis on the coast. So we've got the environments such as the beach, subways, sewers. We've got all the makeup of a traditional city. But yeah, it's not a specific environment or a real place from around the world. The city is like a tool that allows us to, have the city shift around you to dynamically shift what's going on ahead of you. So one of the examples, you go off one of the jumps and then the ground just falls beneath you. You think you're going on ahead, but you're going down beneath them. And we'll have other examples later in the game where you're driving along a suspension bridge, and the suspension bridge will collapse underneath you, or will be on top of skyscrapers within the city, and they'll be falling down as you're driving on top of them. We've got full 16-player online, 4-player split screen offline, but also 4-player split screen online as well. Betting is something that we're going to do but it's for fun, but there's a little risk reward inside there as well. What we do, we seed all the players inside the race lobby, and then we allow you to put a bet on one person. Each person has like a value of experience which you can earn if you beat them. So if you know the guy at the top, he's a bit tough to beat, it gives you like another goal to aim towards. I'll aim for player 6 and I'll try and beat him. If you beat him, you win those chips. Now at this point you can choose to cash in those chips, take the safe bet, or you can gamble them. So you go into the next race and you can put another bet on, but if you lose that bet, you lose all your chips. But it's a multiplier system. So every bet you win, you get opportunity to win even more chips the next bet you put, and so on and so on. And all these contribute towards your experience, which is part of our new ranking system online. As you go through the ranks, you'll unlock customization elements for your vehicle, which are both visual and gameplay affecting. So we've got the visual side of things, which is parts, liveries, vinyls, stickers, full works, completely customise the vehicle to look exactly how you want it to look. And on top of that, we've now got our perk system, which allows you to modify how it plays. We've got boost perks, we've got handling perks, and we've got combat perks. All of which really allow the player to tailor the way they play the game, and sometimes give you a competitive edge as well. The game mode editor is one of the things we're most excited about. It allows users to create whatever game mode they want. All the game modes that we're going to create and we're going to ship, we're going to use the game mode editor to create them as well. So we're going to be making the game with the same tools that we're providing to the user. So any users say have any particular ideas or thoughts, chances are they're going to be able to set it up. We've obviously utilised the Motorstorm Pacific Rift engine, but during this time we've been able to make a lot of improvements to it. One of the big things, of course, is obviously dynamic lighting, which obviously allows us to do nighttime races with headlights. So you can drive around in the dark, but also allows us to go into locations which would have been difficult to do otherwise, like underground, which would have been pitch black otherwise. Every character has their own unique prologue and epilogue, which basically bookends their story. It's unique. It basically tells the story of how they get into the city, but rather than just telling it, you're playing it. As we demonstrated inside the presentation, as the rookie, you get carried on some carriers and land up on the beach, and then you're going through all the military at the time. But the other two characters will be introduced into the same area at a similar time, but in completely different ways. And again, for the epilogues, it's all about escaping the city. The city's now, at that point, falling apart. It's the apocalypse. And all the riders are trying to escape. And it kind of tells the story of how they're escaping the city. It's one thing we've never been able to do before. The story is really explain what Motorstorm's all about, how the organisers set things up. Because we've been to Monument Valley, we've been to the island, and the players never really learn what goes on behind the scenes. And hopefully, with the story, we can not only inform you of this, we can also take you on a journey with these characters as well. My name is Paul Waszczynski, I'm lead designer on Motorstorm Apocalypse, and will be available 2011 exclusively on the PlayStation 3.
It's time for the week's new releases. These are the biggest games hitting UK stores this weekend.
The first one is Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii. Now, we gave this game a rare 10 out of 10, saying Super Mario Galaxy 2 is even more varied, challenging and fun than its superb predecessor, making it the new standard for platformers. After a short delay, the game is now making its way to Europe, and it's also available in a limited edition money tin from certain retailers.
Rock Band Green Day on Xbox 360, PS3, MTV Games and Harmonix's full Rock Band game dedicated to the San Francisco Bay Area pop-punk rockers.
Next up is Assassin's Creed 2 Complete Edition on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, which includes the full game of Assassin's Creed 2, both DLC packs, that's Battle of Forlì and Bonfire of the Vanities, and 3 Templar secret locations, which I'll attempt to pronounce now: Palazzo Medici, Santa Maria de Frari, and Arsenal Shipyard, which were previously only available in the Assassin's Creed 2 Black Edition. And finally, Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands hits the PC. Speaking of Assassin's Creed 2 Complete Edition, time to give away a competition prize now. We have 3 copies of the game to give away on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, courtesy of Ubisoft.
All you have to do is answer this question. Name the 2 extra chapters in the game that were originally launched as DLC, as well as the numbers of the memories they fill in the timeline. If you think you know the answer, email it to competitions@gamespot.co.uk with your name and address, and we'll draw the winners on next week's show.
We've also got the winner of last time's Xbox 360 Elite competition, as well as copies of Samurai Showdown Sen on the Xbox 360. All you had to do was answer this question. Tell us the names of 3 of the characters from the game. The winner of this beautiful Xbox 360 Elite, as Jane is very nicely modelling, is Henry Blackie from Yelverton, who correctly named Killian, Draco and Black Hawk. Our 4 runners-up are William Riley from Bromley, Jonathan Bridges from Weston-super-Mare, Michael Goodbody from Kent, and Dave Dutton from Birmingham, who all bag a copy of the game and the Samurai Sword. Congrats, guys, enjoy your prizes.
With classic games such as Soul Calibur and Perfect Dark now re-released on Xbox Live Arcade and a second Bionic Commando game being prepped, we thought it was time to look at the games we can't believe still haven't been released for Xbox Live.
Jet Set Radio, Jet Set Radio Future, or Jet Grind Radio if you're in the US. This is the game that started cel-shaded visuals, brought addictive, wacky J-pop to the masses, and was one of the coolest video games of all time. We're also surprised that Jet Set Radio Future isn't out as part of Microsoft's original Xbox line. The Simpsons arcade game. Now, I pumped God knows how many 20p's into the Simpsons arcade machine in my local arcade on Filey's Seafront, and along with Cadillacs and Dinosaurs and the original WWF arcade game, it's the reason my hands became callous, blistered wrecks. Bart, Lisa, Homer, Marge, they were all in this excellent side-scrolling beat-em-up, and we won it on Xbox Live Arcade. Power Stone, another Dreamcast classic that seems long overdue for an online-enabled XBLA update. Power Stone took the 4-player fighting game and turned it on its head. If a character collects 3 Power Stones, they transform into a more powerful version and able to unlock one of 2 super special attacks. I played this game to death in my university years, and the genre seems to have gone out of favour recently.
Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, probably the least successful of the Street Fighter series, but still holds a special place in our hearts. The initial release of Street Fighter 3 ditched all the main characters from 2 apart from Ken and Ryu, but Third Strike brought everyone back, including Chun-Li and Akuma, as well as a new version of the Crush the Car minigame. GoldenEye. An update or re-release of GoldenEye has been rumoured since what seems like the beginning of time, but with Perfect Dark now out on Xbox Live Arcade, now is surely the time for it to happen.
Now, we know you're probably busy shouting at your screen right now with games that we missed, so let us know your thoughts and suggestions for games you want on Xbox Live Arcade by going over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/GameSpotUK.
That's it from us this week, but we'll be bringing you another edition of Start Select next Friday, direct from E3 in LA.
Get in touch with us at podcast@gamespot.co.uk or get involved with the discussion at facebook.com/GameSpotUK, and we'll see you from sunny LA next week.